Deb, I actually want you to come up because what I want to do is show this next thing, which is called the bleed. So why don't you grab the seat there? Is it okay if we go over your numbers?
Yeah, sure. Right. I guess so. There's
All
not
right.
much to go over, but
Well, no, we're going to do this.
pretty horrible.
Ann, what were we saying?
Oh, we're talking about the big number. My number was big, and then I was so happy. And then when it came down to the reality, it was nothing, and it was just
Painful, right?
It was 2 days of depression.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's very real.
Yeah.
The problem with business is that it's sucking, it's living off of us. And until we flip it and force it to do this, it'll be high moments for a day and miserable moments for most of the time.
Yeah.
Actually, I can go to any entrepreneur and say, how's business going? They'll look at their bank account and either they'll be thrilled, which is rare, and usually say it sucks, I'm dying.
Yeah.
This gets rid of all that stuff. So, all right, so let's go through your numbers. Actually, would you be so kind to hold this for me? Because I want to kind of rewrite this down. I just want to be able to see that. So you're saying on a monthly basis, your monthly goal is you want to get, we'll do from profit first. So you want to do $214 in profit. Now you didn't say this. I'm saying this is a bonus because you own a business. You deserve this. In taxes, you're going to reserve $642 in taxes. You told me to cover your living expenses, you need $1,500 in personal pay. And then I'm telling you that you have $1,928 left to cover expenses. And that total operation is $4,285. Okay, thank you. Now what I want to do is go through, I'm just going to throw this on the floor here. This is our goal. Now we have to do the discussion of reality.
Yeah. That's where the challenge comes in.
So how much money do you make a month right now?
Most months, $0 to $500.
$500 total revenue.
Yeah, most months.
Most months. What?
It's pretty infrequent, and then on the occasional or rare month, I could get $10,000 or $20,000.
So okay, so then let's annualize it so we can look at an average. How much money did you make last year, entirety in your business? Would you say?
$50,000 maximum.
Perfect. All right, so $50,000. That's perfect. So $50,000. That's perfect because divided by 12 is $4,160. Okay. Okay. So you're making, now this is a guess. We don't know, but you're making $4,160. How much are you paying yourself?
Most of the time, nothing. I don't celebrate anything. I never.
So you're not taking a profit, but you're paying bills somehow.
I
So
barely pay my bills, or I pay them late.
Okay. Yeah.
I pay them on credit cards, or I take cash advances if necessary, or call clients and ask them, "Come on, please pay."
Yeah. Which I hate. Nothing to be embarrassed about. That's quite normal.
Yeah.
And I can see instantly is you need at least this. You're making too little to even support it. So that's normal. So let's say you're paying yourself. Do you have in expenses $18,000 a year in expenses? More than that, or is that right?
I guess so.
18,000. So then you're paying yourself. You're still paying yourself 1,500. So that means you're stealing your money from yourself elsewhere. You take no profit.
Right.
Do you pay all your taxes?
Not yet.
Don't pay taxes.
I will pay my taxes, but not yet.
Okay, but yeah. So you haven't
delayed.
So the estimates,
all my bills.
So the estimates have come up, and you haven't paid them.
Yeah.
Also normal.
Like
and
all
I hate
of
to
my
say,
bills.
Yeah.
You have to pay it when you can, and
can't pay.
That's what I'll do.
Yep. And so usually, do you pay taxes April 15th when they're due? It's like, holy crap.
Yeah, at the very latest time that I can.
The last minute, okay. You're normal. You're normal. And then, how much are you paying expenses? It must be more than, it's the difference.
Yeah, and expenses are way up and down too.
Okay. So, $2,500, does that sound right? Like you're paying monthly expenses?
I feel like,
it feels like that.
I'm wasting a lot of money.
Yeah, but here's what's this powerful. Before you had this part, it kind of looked okay. But now you have the comparison, it's whew. There's actually, if you ever seen just going back to weight loss commercial, you ever see those commercials where they come on, they're like, oh, here's the new diet product, and then you see the before and after photo? I want you to do something next time you see it. Freeze the screen, and then take a piece of cardboard and cover just either picture, and then look at the other one. When you look at pictures individually, you'll see actually very little difference. It's hard to see it. When you remove the cardboard and you look at two simultaneously, you see the difference. In our businesses, what Debbie's been doing, like all of us, we're all guilty of this, have been just looking at this side. I got $4,000 a month coming in. This is how much going out. I'm just making it. I hate it, but I'm just making it. When you look at both simultaneously, it's like, oh, God, when you compare the two and you see what you need to do. So we need to cut expenses. There's no question about it. You're taking enough, and we're not devoting anything to profit or tax, and you're getting cut off by taxes. Mm-hmm. The difference between these points is called the bleed. And she's bleeding money in 3 spots. She's not taking a profit, she's not reserving or preparing for taxes, and she's spending too many expenses. So what we do now is we go home, or right after the session, or during our lunch break, maybe during our lunch break, we're gonna sit down and say, how are we gonna cut expenses? They have to be at this point or less. Mm-hmm. Then once we figure it, we can get these 2 up. If you want to make more income, and by the way, there's a bleed here. You're not making enough income. You're actually not doing too bad. You can achieve what your objectives are currently almost off your current income. We just have to increase sales by about $150 a month, $1,000 or $2,000 more a year, and that will make a difference for you. Mm-hmm. As our business progresses, these numbers will change and we'll have to redo this evaluation. Every quarter, there's our quarterly plan again, be doing this. Evaluate your business. But once you do this profit first accounting, it's instantly clear we got way too many expenses. We got to cut expenses here by about $1,000, and that's going to support everything else, and we're going to start moving stuff here. Yeah. So we have to cut expenses. The second thing is, when you go home tonight or when you're next online, I ask that you set up these accounts on your bank, and I want you to start moving stuff over and to start with this low reserve, 1%, 1%. Even though we haven't cut a single expense yet, this will start getting us in the habit. And once a habit becomes ingrained in us, everything's transformational. Yeah.
We've got a question coming in from Amy TW in regards to these separate accounts. Her bank account, actually her bank charges her for each separate account, they charge fees. So she's asking if you know, maybe it's another bank or maybe it's a way around these fees that you can suggest.
First of all, negotiate. You can negotiate with any bank. If you feel you're obligated to a bank and you want to stay with them, you can negotiate. We have the ability to negotiate anything. If you've gotten service charges on your bank, call your bank and say, listen, I'm going to leave the bank because you're charging me this. And many banks will acquiesce and take it back. Secondly, I have found, and this is just, I got to be careful about bias here, but I love community local banks. I love when I can go and meet the banker and shake his or her hand and say, how you doing? Here's my situation. I had a fraudulent check sent to me for a deposit. Actually, it wasn't even fraudulent. It was just an erroneous check that was sent to me as a deposit. I deposited it with a major bank, and I won't say their name. I got flagged. The same situation, or a similar situation happened with a community bank. They called me and said, we got a weird situation going on with this check. And then we sorted it out on the phone, no problems. That's often the difference I find between community banks and large conglomerates. That's not true with all large conglomerates. I got to be very tactful about how I say that. Yeah.
Sales tax. Does that go into taxes, 15%?
Expense.
It's expense, okay.
Yeah, but now, sales tax is an expense.
Would you make another account to put all the sales tax so that you can
Yeah,
pay
I
that?
would. So if you sell a lot of products.
I do, yeah, that's what I'm asking.
Yeah, I guess you would. Yeah, I would set up a separate account for that. Because recognize that's not even revenue.
No.
There's an additional fee we charge to clients. In New Jersey, it's 7%. And by law, that money, when we collect it, goes right to the state. But it's on top of our revenue. So yes, I would set up a separate account for sales.
So on the 10th, when you deposit everything, you first take out your sales tax, I'm assuming.
Yeah, because you collected it.
Right.
And it doesn't even count as a deposit. That's kind of what's called a flow through.
Okay.
A client gave you money to pay tax, you charge them tax, and the law is that goes right to the government. So you treat it that way. It goes right into a sales tax account, and then the net, well, not the net, but say you charged $100 for a picture and you collected $107 because there's tax, the $7 go into your tax account, then the $100 goes through this distribution.
You'd still put it into the same big plated.
Well, initially, the first day,
Yeah.
everything just goes into one account,
Okay.
but you would have an additional sales account. That's a great question.
Cool.
Great
Thank
point.
you.
Yeah.
You actually just hit the question I was going to ask, but I want
Oh, you sit back down so you don't have to say every all the time. Yeah, no, thank you. Thank you.
Like, which account do you recommend putting that initial deposit into? Obviously not the profit first, because that's the hidden account that's really hard to get into, but
Right. So I have a main checking account. I almost want to pull up my own checking, but then the confidentiality, I can't do it because I know. No. Just your main checking account.
Okay.
So the one that you write checks from, that's the account where all the deposits go.
Okay.
So wouldn't that probably be our operations one? Because
Yeah, everything goes operations.
Yes. Okay. Exactly.
Yeah. Now the nice thing too is as money starts accumulating in there over the 2-week period between the 10th and the 24th, sometimes I go into my bank account and I check. I suspect we all do how much money's in there. I then run the quick math, 45%. Whatever number's in there, I multiply by 45%, and that's basically roughly the number I'll have available for expenses. So it's a great way to do instant gut checks. You can do it on a simple spreadsheet too. Yeah.
We've got some great questions coming in. Maybe some clarification might be helpful here because Jay Schickler, I hope I got that right, is saying, so do you have to have a profit margin higher than 60% to make this work? Otherwise, operations might be too small, perhaps, and some products only have a 15% profit margin, so that would not work here.
Yeah, so he's talking about what's called gross profit margin, and the answer is absolutely. Right, and so many people, he's saying if 45 goes to expenses, that means you have 55%, I assume that's what he means by 60, 55% left available for this. Some people sell their products with such tight margins that they can't support any of their business. That is the lead indicator that you got to change your offering. You got to be able to get more price. One technique, if you sell a product, and say you're in a very competitive market, maybe Walmart's your competitor and they're trying to make you run a 15% margin, you can do what's called an additive. And what it is say you sell UGG boots, just because we've been picking on UGG a lot. Walmart sells them for $100. The only way you think you can sell them is for $99. But if you did an additive, maybe you created a video of different ways to clean your Uggs and to maintain your Uggs, and different ways to put jewelry and stuff on them, like my daughter does. Now you have an additive and say, we don't sell UGG boots, we sell Uggs with the use kit. And now you can dictate a higher price. So that's a little trick you can use. Okay.
Can we go back then?
Yeah.
Let's say I'm selling an album and my cost of goods is, let's say, $200 for the album. You're saying markup should be 65%?
Yeah, so you're saying cost of goods, which I mean, I'm just going to say
operations cost, yeah.
Yeah, now you have other costs. Cost of goods typically would mean the album physically itself and the time spent, but you also have rent, you have your photo equipment. So I'm just going to say cost of goods is all that accumulated, okay? If it's $200, I know by running the math here, you got to be selling it for roughly $450. Right? Because that will cover these other plates. Most of us will say, and this is the logic most of us use, say, it cost me $200 to make this album, I'm going to charge $250. I'll make $50. And I'm telling you that's not close enough. And that's the argument, by the way, in our head. We were talking yesterday of the biggest arguer for keeping your price down, arguer, is you. Is arguer a word? That doesn't sound like a word. But the person that's really going, like, your prices are too high, is you. I mean, too low is you, or too high. We got to adjust the price up. We got, now I'm getting all confused myself, but you got to adjust the price up. So if your costs are $200, this is telling us you got to sell it for $450. And you got to find a way to justify that. If you don't think you can justify it, you got to find a way to justify it.
Yeah, in my jewelry business, we started out, when we were pricing, we would double the cost of goods sold. But what we realized was that we weren't taking into the account the time that we were spending designing and producing the jewelry. So we went back and we determined that 3 times cost of goods sold was a better retail price for us because it covered the cost of our time plus the actual. So that's a mistake not a mistake, but that's something that people do a lot. They just look at their actual costs. Well, I spent $5 on that pumpkin, I'm going to sell it for 10, but you don't take into account that you had to drive, 10 miles to get it, and you use gas, and it used up your time.
Hidden costs.
So you have to, if you come up with the right formula, it works.
So let me ask you, how much do you sell? If an album costs you $200, how much are you selling it for?
Like 800, 900.
Oh, 800. No, that's great.
Yes.
That's the appropriate model. Are you selling other stuff where you don't have that markup?
Before, but we've reworked our pricing. So.
Awesome.
And like I was telling you yesterday, since we've reworked it, people value the product more and things are selling better actually because of it.
Right. No, that's the perfect markup. When I say you have to go to 450, I'm saying that's the minimum you got to go to. If you can go to 800 or 1,000, you should, because people will appreciate it more, and there's more profitability in it. This is a nice little target. If you can get above this, great. You know. Now, some businesses, because I know you said your business is still kind of struggling, check to check. I suspect you're taking more than 35% of the partner pay. That's often a trap. So if you're making, how much do you make in the business every month?
Probably close to 5,000.
5,000, and how much are you guys taking out in pay?
Not very much.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well,
or if actually maybe we're. I don't know. I got to look at this. I'm not sure.
Okay. Yeah, and that's normal too. That's normal response. But 5,000, this is telling us between the two partners, you and your husband, it's about $1,700 you can take a month. And if you're taking more than that, you're putting a squeeze on the business. Right. So, and that often happens, that we take more out here, we crush down profit, we don't pay taxes, we delay, we borrow from credit cards.
I think I'm putting too much weight actually for taxes.
Yeah, how much are you putting weight of tax?
30%.
Yeah.
Straight off the top.
Yeah, it sounds like you're reserving way too much. Now, consult with your accountant. I'm not a legal professional when it comes, but consult with your accountant. But that sounds like way too much.
Yeah.
Way too much. Well, congratulations, you just found money. Yeah.
Which is cool.
Maybe your husband can come work with you full time. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, cool. Any other questions? Online community too? Yes, Ann.
My situation is a little odd because I do consignment,
Yes.
and right now I have a 50-50 with my client.
Mm.
That 50 is too low for me. I'm not making it on that.
Okay, yeah, interesting.
And yet, there really aren't any other competitors in my field because people just don't want to do this job.
There's no competitors. So why don't you change from 50-50 to 40-60?
I think I need to. But it's that I haven't wanted to break that. I'm my own worst enemy because who would pay that? Well, they probably would, but everybody around me is telling me to do it.
Yeah, or could you produce it in a different way? Because there is human emotion. If I give you my ring and say, sell us for $100, and you say, well, I'm gonna take 60, you're gonna get 40, I'm like, that's my ring. So emotion plays in, but you can also get that money from me by saying, I have a base fee of $500, and I'll sell your items for a month. And there you're getting the margin, and then we split it 50-50. It's another way of getting that percentage without the emotional.
And that's a good idea.
Cool. Good. Any other questions coming in on?
Well, we had some general questions coming in, and one that I think since we're talking about small businesses, is there a time of year that is a better time to start a business?
Yes. Start a business or start doing this?
Start a business, start doing this, both.
When it comes to start doing this, the best time of year is today. It's always today. Start doing this immediately. Again, these percentages are target percentages. With the profit, I'm okay if you start with 1%. Taxes, you're gonna have to pay them anyway. Try to go 15% right away. Your partner pay, inevitably we're paying ourselves too much and we're stealing from credit cards or something like that. You're gonna have to adjust your lifestyle to support that. That's a tough one to swallow, but you're gonna have to. So start doing that. Once a quarter, if you start lower than these numbers, once a quarter you readjust. And you try to ooch up or scooch up the numbers to a little bit bigger. As your business grows in size, the distribution, these are targets. Again, these aren't the perfect numbers, but these are the targets we go for. As your business grows in size, the targets change a little bit. If you can squeeze more profit out of it, take it. Go for it. And I would love for someone to call me back and say, 5%, I'm taking 12%, 15% on a startup. And actually, I work with a company that's taking 17%, and they're right at 250 now. Because he's been doing this for 3-4 years. And
that's possibly by cutting your operations.
Cut operation costs. Oh yeah, there's another thing I want to show you, because someone mentioned this earlier. Yeah, so he's cutting operation costs, he's going more efficiently, he's reducing variability in his business. And when we talk about running on automatic, we're going to dig into this a lot. But basically, this is the premise of the 80-20. 20% of your clients are yielding 80% of your revenue. That's 80 up there. So 20% of your clients are yielding 80% of your revenue. 80% of your clients, as Kirsten pointed out to us, make 20% of the revenue, right? She's got Amazon and LaBaby, and down here is all these different clients. The other thing someone said, I think it was online, is the product distribution. Well, the Pareto's rule plays here too. 20% of your products make most of your profit. I suspect, Kirsten, we didn't ask this about your business, but of all the different products you have, there's certain ones that are more popular than others. Right. And there's probably ones that make the majority of profit and revenue for you. Is that right?
Right. Though it is kind of problematic. Like, people then will say, oh, but you don't have very much variety, right?
Yes.
People buy these 3, 4,
Yeah.
but they want to see 15 options.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's kind of.
So here's a way around that. A little trick for you. You can even use Photoshop to do this, and I did this with another business of mine. We made 50 variations of a product with different designs and stuff, but 30 of them we didn't really have, so we list them out of stock. Out of stock, right? And so they saw all this variety and say, oh, those are currently out of stock, but here, this one's really popular, and we just did a run of these. And people are like thrilled with the variety, yet we stayed focused. So a little trick for you.
All right.
Building on that, though, there's what's called I call the Pareto crossover. A portion of your best clients are buying some products that aren't making you any money. And a portion of your bad clients, ones that aren't generating much money, occasionally buy your best products that make the most money. And in certain circumstances, your best clients are buying your best products. And in certain circumstances, your worst clients, meaning they don't generate revenue, are buying your worst products. When it comes to pruning, you want to get rid of these people first, right? It's people that aren't making any money for you, they're a big distraction, and they buy stuff that doesn't make money in the first place. You get rid of them. Then we want to start focusing on these best clients and seeing if we can move them to buy more and more of our better products using a technique like I just shared with you. These bad clients, we want to see if we can move them up. Well, can they start buying more? We set buying standards for them. If you don't buy 20 units a year, unfortunately, we're not going to be able to serve you anymore, and we try to move them up, because at least they're buying good products. And that's how you address that, and you focus up here. That's how you increase overall cash flow and revenue into your business, and then that will support this more and more. Just kind of in conclusion, this is the system that will enforce everything you learned up to this point. Pruning your business, focusing on your sweet spot. This will force you to start playing those cards. So I implore on you, all of us watching online, all of us today, we go home, we set 4 accounts with our bank, don't let them charge you fees, set 4 accounts with your banks, and start doing a distribution like this. It is a game changer for every business I've used this for.
You know what, Mike? It's been fun watching on the chat rooms. Everybody's really collaborating and helping each other, and they're asking, while you're answering questions, they're also helping and answering questions. And I wanted to give you a chance to talk about your website and what we have to get on.
So the coolest website, like in history, it's MikeMichalowicz.com. Actually, I have a lot of articles on my own site about this, so if you want to go to MikeMichalowicz.com, you can check this out. But go to MikeMichalowicz.com/CreativeLive. I have free resources there specifically for this group. I have the notes from this entire presentation that's going to be emailed to you, plus some extra bonus videos I prepared just for this group. And you get on my newsletter, so I'll send you the latest tips as I come out with them. As I make revisions and additions to this whole system I came up with, and as I write my book on it, you'll be the first to know. So that's what you do.
Isn't there a collaboration group?
Oh yeah, and so, oh my God.
Thought so.
Oh my God. I'm like, I tell Eve offline, I'm like, make sure I talk about the collaboration thing. So thanks for the trigger there. I totally forgot. We also have a community. If you sign up at MikeMichalowicz.com/CreativeLive, I'll email you access to this private community that Don and I have set up called the Entrepreneurs Enclave. We run it on Facebook. It's invite only. We're making it available to everyone here in the studio audience and everyone online. And we have these exact discussions that are happening online here, on there, talking about this and all these different things. It's a really supportive community.
Fabulous community, and no spammy selling allowed. It's all conversation and support.
Yeah, spammers are removed. Yeah, so check it out. Sign up now for sure.